from scratch, so let me know when you're ready or when the PowerPoint pulls up.
Okay. Yeah. The only problem with me pulling it up on my phone is that every time my phone rings, it blocks me out of it. So my phone just rang twice. That's why the PowerPoint kicked up.
Got it. Got it.
Okay. Can you see the PowerPoint now?
I can see the PowerPoint. Thank you.
Okay, great. So whenever you're ready.
All right, perfect. First off, I'd like to welcome everyone to the workshop. I have 20 minutes, so I'm going to respect your time, and I'm going to set my timer for 20 minutes. So I will be done talking after that, so you could go on about your day. So my name is Matt Madrigal. I'm with the Positive Coaching Alliance, and today we're going to talk about double goal coaching. That's our workshop. And the reason we call it a workshop, it's not going to be me preaching and talking up here. We're going to get a collaborative effort from everyone just to make everyone in this room a little bit better. So before we start, what I want you to do is text the code for this workshop, which in this case is 0000, your first name and last name and email address, and I'd like you to text it to this phone number, 650-763-2405. What this will allow us to do is get your certificate emailed to you tomorrow. We're not going to sell any of your information. It's basically just for resources. So you'll be able to get on the website and we'll have a log of who's come to the meetings, and it helps us better, track these workshops. So go ahead and do that, and then once everyone's done, we'll go ahead and begin.
All right, got it.
Oh, and remember, don't put a space over the pound sign or after the pound sign. So pound sign, listen to me. God, I have totally outdated myself. All right, so right now we're going to talk about double goal coaching. Who has heard of PCA, Positive Coaching Alliance? Anybody?
I've heard of it.
Okay. Has anyone been to a workshop that we're going right now?
I've never been. Nope.
Okay. No, perfect. All right, good. Well, this is a great opportunity for you to learn from your peers as well as some of the research that we've done at Positive Coaching Alliance. So Positive Coaching Alliance is a non-for-profit organization which was founded in 1998 at Stanford University by Jim Thompson. Every year we train about 80,000 coaches go through these workshops annually. But again, if you just look at some of the stats right now, 3.3 million youth reached and many workshops throughout the year. So, okay, when you hear positive coaching, can someone just give me an idea of what they think about? When you hear positive coaching, give me the first thing that comes to your head.
Supportive.
Okay.
Fun.
Anything else? Fun. Perfect.
Yeah, fun. A coach that enjoys being there. A coach that really likes the kids.
Good. Good.
The kids are having fun. Just looking at the kids that are being coached by somebody like that, they're actually enjoying it. Sure.
They're out there. They're trying their hardest. They're emulating their coach as far as their demeanor. Is that accurate to say? Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Perfect. So what we've come to sort of describe all the stuff that you share with me is just creating an atmosphere that supports their best possible performance. Again, that's where you want to look at the positive side of it. And if we go to the next slide, I'm sorry, Kelly. I'm trying to okay, perfect. The power of positivity. We have.
You can tell me to click too. If you want to just say, if you ever just want to say click, just tell me and I'll just click through.
Okay. Dr. Fredrickson, who is an advisory member, a board member for the Positive Coaching Alliance, as well as a psychologist at the University of North Carolina, has come up with this phrase right here, where the perception that the best way to get what you want out of your employees or players is negativity or threats. But negativity doesn't always work as well as positivity. Positive emotions are especially contagious, and a leader's positive emotions are more contagious than anyone else's. What we want to try to do here is, and again, I'll get into this a little bit more, but better people, or better athletes and better people. Has anyone had a boss that was very negative? Kelly, have
Yes,
you?
I have.
Okay.
I have,
And,
yeah.
and what was that feeling when you went to work? You almost dreaded it, and your motivation was probably not there where it should be. Is that accurate to say?
It was. I felt like he didn't trust me.
Perfect. You're right. Exactly. And again, this is a negative perception. Using sports into life, that's exactly how you want to go. So, going back to that one slide, Kelly, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
With the the abuse of coach is over, and I'm sure that you've seen it, who's been around. I know you said you were 15 years here. I mean, think about when you started, think about now and how the coaching has evolved. So again, after an article in Sports Illustrated about 3 years ago, it's over. I mean, they're going to have more positive coaches and positive emotions when they're out there. And who controls it? You guys do. Your coaches. You do. Okay, next slide, Kel. Sorry.
Yep.
And again, these elite coaches are going to have 8 coaches here that, with the combined, I think Bruce Bochy has 3 World Series titles, and Steve Kerr's got 11 NBA titles. Julie Fahey has 2 World Cup titles as well as an Olympic gold medal. So these people believe what the positive coaches are going to do, and they want their grandkids and kids to have a positive coaching experience. And what does negativity do? It gets you off track. Like Kelly, you just mentioned that he didn't trust you, so negativity just probably again took your motivation away and made you almost walking on eggshells, which is no way you want to be at work or especially at sports. So it distracts you from your tasks. Next slide. So do you guys agree that positive works better than negative? Everyone agree with that?
I do, except the only problem is that when I have kids that aren't paying attention and I raise my voice or I yell, they listen.
Sure.
So I think sometimes, if I'm trying to be too positive, they look at it as I'm being soft, or they can get away with more. And I think behavior-wise, when I need their attention, I need to yell, and it's just it just works.
Sure. And I think that's a great point, Kelly, and I appreciate you bringing that up, because we're not here to coddle these players. They've got to learn that they're held responsible. And our motivation is just to give them, criticism, but in a positive light. And we'll talk about this a little bit later, where we're going to get into, filling the emotional tank and the ratios. But that's a great point that you bring, because it's not always going to be, rainbows and butterflies and everything's great. I mean, there are some times where it's going to be a little bit. There is going to be some criticism, and like you said, raising your voice is probably not necessarily a negative thing, but it's just you need to get their attention. So great point, Kelly. I appreciate you bringing that up. That being said, so why is there so much negativity in sports?
I think a lot of the coaches don't know what else to do. Like, I think, as I said, sometimes I just scream at them because I don't know how else to get their attention.
Sure.
I feel like if I had a better way, I probably would use it, but right now I don't.
Sure.
Also, the pressure. I think there's a lot of pressure on parents for their kids to perform, to get to the highest level, to get a D1 scholarship. College is so expensive. And I think, anything you could do to get your kid on the best team and playing time so that they can get recruited, I think that's going to be a huge help.
Sure. So there's a lot of, I guess what you said at the beginning is just the pressure to perform, the pressure to, look for those scholarships. And again, I believe it's one of those, you got to do the right thing every day and things will work out in the end. So that's just my opinion, but no, that's a great point. There is a lot of negativity in sports. And our goal here is the research that we've done. You go to the next slide, Kelly, unless I missed something completely glaring.
Nope, you're good. You're good.
We've done the research in sports psychology. And what we've come up with is try to get best practices. So Kelly, you mentioned before, you don't know what to do in certain situations. Well, these workshops are a great opportunity for you to share with what maybe something works for you, and now you could incorporate it. So again, for people that have just come in here, you can learn something. Get one thing out of this workshop, please. But you have sports psychology research that shows how well positive attitude works. And in this one, we're going to show best practices. Again, what I just mentioned. Our goal here is to have better athletes and better people. So next slide, Kelly. Thanks. And here's what we're going to provide for you. We're going to have, again, research-based coaching, what works best, practical tools, and ongoing support. Go to the website. The website, if you have a question about how to talk to parents, you have a disruptive player, there's information on there for you to handle it. It's great. I've used it many times when I wasn't even part of the Positive Coaching Alliance. So, okay, let's break up into groups, and I'll give you guys about 30 seconds. But what makes a great youth sport experience for kids? And Kelly, I guess we can just talk about it. So I'll go to the next slide.
We're talking. Yeah.
All right. So I appreciate you sharing that with your partner. Here's the 3 things that we've come to make a good atmosphere for coaches, for coaching or for sports. You feel connected with your teammates and your coach. You believe that you can improve or they can improve, and they feel proud about acting with integrity. So these 3 things, connected, improve, and with integrity, are the basis of really the 3 bullet points we're going to talk about, again, a little bit later, actually in a couple minutes. But we're going to show you how that will improve your kids' experience. But that being said, what do you think they're going to do if they come back and they feel connected to the coach, the teammates, they're acting with integrity, and they're improving? What might happen?
I think they're going to play well.
They're going to play well, right? They're going to be more confident, right?
Yeah.
That's probably what I would say.
I think they're going to come back next year. They're going to come back next year, next week.
Right. You know, how many times have you seen coaches who've coached for more than 15 years? You've seen a player out there that was a decent player, working hard, having fun, and did they ever not come back the next year? No.
Yeah.
I mean, they're there. They're here to help you and there to improve because they know the type of atmosphere that you're creating for them. Well, good point. Thanks, Kelly. I appreciate it. Okay, so getting back to what I was just talking about. So we've come up with three bullet points that make you feel connected, which is the emotional tank, learn to improve, which is the elm tree of mastery, and act with integrity, which is the honoring the game, which is our roots side of it. So again, when you're using these tools, has anyone used any of these tools before? Before I go into it, has anyone seen this or used them at all?
No.
No? Okay, good. Great opportunity for us to keep going and dive into it a little bit more. But you will see it. You will see your team will take great strides and again, performing at their best.
Okay, Herman.
Do you want to go through the video?
We can just pretend. Go ahead. I've already seen it. Okay,
sure. Yeah, all right. You seen it a couple times.
I could probably recite it for you.
I know, right? So when you look at it, you watch the video and how, how he's talking, and the quote right here, when the book of your life is written, will it say you made a difference? And that's pretty powerful, huh? That is very powerful, because as a coach, at least not for the last 10 years when I was coaching, I never felt like it was like, I don't want to say that important, but the difference you're making in these kids' lives until you see someone that you coached 10 years ago in the grocery store, and he comes up to you and says, "Hi, coach, how you doing?" I mean, that's a great feeling. So definitely something you want to think about. Hi, Ruben, how are you? Okay, next slide. All right, the positive coaching model, or the PCA model of coaching. So as a double goal coach, what's our first goal, right? Striving to win. Is there anyone in here that wants to play a sport and lose? Absolutely not. Anyone? No, I didn't think so.
No.
But more importantly, the double goal coach is, the second one is to teach life lessons through sports. Can anyone just shout out a couple examples of what sports can do for you? What you're going to learn playing sports? Anybody?
Teamwork.
Perfect. You guys said it together.
Adversity, dealing with bouncing back from failure.
Right.
Goal setting, work ethic.
Right. We could go
sportsmanship.
on, right? Sportsmanship, anything. And all those, again, we talk about teaching life lessons. All those matter in a corporate setting. If you come in with a negative attitude, if you don't respect and work with integrity, and all this stuff matters. And this is a great model for them to learn. If anyone ever has any time, if you go to TED Talks and type in Jim Thompson, he has about a 10 to 15 minute lecture on the model of sports that can just teach everyone lessons throughout their whole life. So if you ever get a chance, go to TED Talks, Jim Thompson, and it's pretty interesting. It really is interesting. So I'm sorry, going back to the one before. Sorry, Kelly.
Mm-hmm. It's okay.
You know what? One thing that we do want to learn, and you have these strive to win, and you have these teaching life lessons. Has anyone been in a spot where they've had these conflict, where maybe your best player threw a ball at the ref and disrespected the ref? But you know that if you don't put him in, you're probably not going to win the game. Has anyone ever had that come up?
Mm-hmm. I had a time when my best player was away 3 days before a game, and she was our best player on the team. She was it was in basketball, high school basketball, best shooter, and she went skiing for like a 3-day trip. And we had our biggest rival that Friday, and she shows up and expects to play and expects to get in. And we were losing by a lot. And our policy is if you're not at practice, you don't play at least a whole half. And I was getting a lot of pressure to put her in because she was our best shooter and we were down. So I had to make a decision, and I chose not to put her in because it was policy, but it was really hard. She's a good player. It's just, that's the way it is.
When you say it was hard, were you getting it from the team? Were you getting it from the parents, everyone?
Basically everyone. I mean, the girls on the team were like, Coach, come on, we don't care. It's all right. We know the policy. We get it. But that there's policies in place for a reason, I guess. And she didn't tell. The other thing was she didn't tell me she was going away. Like she wasn't like a trip that I knew of ahead of time. She just went at the last minute. So
So that being said, Kelly, and I appreciate you sharing that story with me. What would you have done if she did say, "Hey, Coach, I'm going to be gone for 3 days. Can I be excused?" How would you have reacted to that?
If that were the case, I might have amended the policy a little bit where she couldn't start.
Sure.
I don't know. Going back, I mean, it's hard because you put policies in place to reward the kids that stay there. But it was a tough situation. I wasn't sure what to do. It was tough.
Well, Kelly, so I'm glad he asked you the follow-up question and not me. But it did give me a chance to think. One possibility I think of is letting her and the team know that, I've been asked, can Kelly go on this trip? And I've thought about it, and I'm going to stick with the policy. And here's what the consequence is. And so at least going into the game, everybody would have been clear and known and a little more prepared. So.
Sure.
Anyway.
Oh, they all did. They knew the policy. Yeah. It was just when we started losing, they started looking at me like, come on. Well, it was fine. We were winning. But when we started losing, it was a problem.
Yeah.
And I think that's, and I've asked other coaches this question, like, what would you do? Like, you're teaching roots and respecting the rules and your best player. I mean, it's a tough question, and it's tough to, in the heat of the moment, to do the right thing. But again, that's what a double goal coach does, is they look at the rules they set in place, like your team rules, Kelly, that, you know what, you need to follow this. This is what we're teaching in lessons. And again, I can't stress enough when they're, when they're at work, when they're in the corporate world and they just are gone for 3 days without letting anyone know, I mean, bad things will happen, right? So, no, again, Kelly, I appreciate you sharing. Ruben, do you have anything where you had it conflicted with yourself personally?
Oh, same type of thing, star player does something that goes against our team culture, and you gotta bench them.
Sure.
And not easy. Sometimes I'm stuck to my guns like Kelly did. I think that's super commendable, and sometimes I've caved, and I always regret the caving.
Right. But again, I mean, we're all human. We all do some things that maybe it wasn't the right decision at the time, but again, it's hard. I know I've been in the situation before, and like you said, Ruben, I caved a lot, so. Yeah, Kelly, if you want to go on to the next slide, I know I think I'm past slide 21, so I'm not prepared for this, but I could.
That's just the wrap up of the three principles. Yep.
Okay, so filling the emotional tank, which we're going to talk about in a second. The elm tree of mastery. Again, we're going to follow that, and then honoring the game, which is roots. So again, we're going to move on to that right now. So that's it. I think we're good. Thank you.
Yeah, well done. Nice pace.
Oh, look at this.
I know. That's what I said.
5 seconds. 5 seconds. So
Kelly, I know you're used to me often having a cup of coffee on these hangouts. Yeah. I don't have a cup of coffee.
I'm a little jealous. I think I should do more hangouts on Friday afternoon.
Here's the deal, Matt and Kelly. So I'm driving from Santa Barbara up to San Luis Obispo, and the most direct route is through the San Ynez Mountains, and I timed it perfectly to get to this little town, Los Olivos. Pull into town. It's a wine tasting. It's a wine tasting.
Nice.
And I'm not a wine drinker, so I'm okay. Great.
Sure.
So there's got to be a little local coffee shop, and there was this really cute little coffee shop. I go in, I order my chai latte. What's the Wi-Fi code? Oh, the Wi-Fi's down.
Oh.
Okay,
so you head for the brewery.
So there's one other person in this little coffee shop.
Right.
This is an awesome little town, and hey, any place else? Is there another coffee shop? Any place that might have Wi-Fi? And, no, gosh, really, I can't do anything. Maybe the brewery.
There
I go,
you
where's
go.
the brewery? And she goes, 2 blocks up, same side of the street.
Perfect.
And
not a bad thing.
And they don't have, the only thing on the menu here is potato chips and lots of good beer. So
really,
Cheers.
I wasn't gonna use their Wi-Fi without being a patron. So
that is very commendable.
So
commendable.
they forced you to buy the.
I had no choice.
Right,
I had no choice.
I know. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, Ruben. It's okay.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
The problem is when it's 5 o'clock here is that I have a workshop. So but actually at 6:30 tonight. So I've got time to
there you go.
let this wear off.
Okay,
like back to business. Sorry for that.
Now you're going to have like one of your best workshops ever.
Oh yeah, exactly. Matt, how'd that feel going through that?
It felt good. Again, sharpening. I think even if I was doing this for 10 years, I would feel like I still need to improve on something, whatever it is, whether the examples. I think, to be brutally honest with myself, and I know it was just me and you, so there wasn't a lot of people talking, but I need to stop talking a lot. And I sort of whizzed through that, but I'm really going to push it on other people to get responses from them. So
yeah, and when you have people there, you will do that.
Sure.
This format is really good for you to kind of nail down the language, the phraseology. Ruben and I are looking. We've had people call it the Positive Coaching Association. Little details like that we're just trying to get your verbiage down and see how you would get us involved and what type of questions you have. And, that's why it's great to do this for the intro and then the practice principle. And then you get a final where there will be more people on.
Sure.
And then we send you out in front of live coaches. So I used to do it before where I gave you one chance to do a demo. And I had those people years ago come back and say, I really wish I had a couple more opportunities to practice before I was in front of live coaches. So I thought, let me give everybody as many opportunities as you want. And I offer 3. I've had people say, can I do another one? As many as you want. But Matt, I think not having seen you before, I think you were very, very comfortable. This was a really strong demo. Most of the things that I wrote down, I call them extensions, ideas more that I would give you more than critique of oh yeah, don't do it that way or don't say it that way.
Sure.
The terminology you used was great. You used the word workshop. You used, the coaches are participating. That is such a small detail, but sometimes when someone gets up and says, this presentation or this class and think of it as the audience, that's when you get more into lecture mode.
Sure.
I'm here to teach you everything I know. So I think just your body language and the phrases that you used were excellent. It got me thinking this is about me and it's about helping me. So I like that.
Okay.
The one thing I would add to the one thing I would like to see you do in the beginning is connect you, and I have this recorded too, so you don't have to necessarily take all the notes. You can watch this back later.
Okay.
But I'd like to hear why you're here.
Okay.
What is my connection to you? What brought you to PCA? What's a little bit more of your background that would help me realize, like, who is this guy and why is he here?
Sure.
The partner will read your athletic and coaching bio. They'll read, like, you know, Matt coached this, and you know, but it's nice to hear the personal connection. Like, why are you passionate enough about this to come give your time to do this, to share this message? So if whether that's a story or whether it's an experience you had, I think that's a great thing to hear right up front.
Okay. All right. No, that's, and again, like I wanna have more, I do want to talk about myself, I guess.
Yeah.
But you know,
I
don't want to get too far. Then that's sort of why I just avoided the whole thing altogether. But no, that's a great point. And there are, you know, as you said that, I'm thinking of things of why I am here, and definitely I'll incorporate those.
Yeah. And it's all about the connection with the coaches and what they will remember. And what coaches remember, they connect with stories. They connect with the story that you tell that makes them feel like a player they've had. You know, that the stories are memorable and something that can tug on your emotions, tug on your heartstrings, or make you go, aha, wow, I never thought of that before.
Right.
And those are the moments that people remember. And we are in the business of coaching coaches. And we want to coach coaches to be able to run out of your workshop and they can't wait to get on the field or the court because they've got all these awesome ideas. So sometimes the mode of telling them everything gets them like, okay, this is way too much information. I don't know what to do with this. But as you go through the principles, it's easier to take one of the tools and actually share a player that has had an experience and you've used one of these tools and the amazing results that you've had. You know, things like that are what can connect them to the principles more than like the bullet points. I thought you had a good balance of talking and asking questions.
Okay.
I didn't feel like you were talking too much at all. I mean, I think there's a good balance of time.
Okay.
So I thought that was good. You might watch it back and think I'm talking too much because you see yourself, but I thought you did a really nice job bringing in the boss idea. I like doing that with coaches, bringing in an experience they've had outside of sports. And having them put themselves in their shoes. How did you feel when the boss was yelling at you? You know, I think that's really good. When you talk about the elite coaches, I just think that's a pretty credible area for PCA when there are so many national advisory board members that are super high level. And as you mentioned, I love the way you gave stats for Bruce Bochy, Julie Foudy. I mean, that's great. That shows that you know them. But also thinking about and I love how you said too, like they want their children and grandchildren coached by positive coaches. But they've also shared with us the positive coaches that have had a big impact in their lives. So it's good to sometimes connect that as well. And somebody actually said yesterday, and I've never actually heard this before, but I thought it was great. He said, you are all coaching because you probably love the sport. You know, you're not, and I heard somebody last week say, you didn't all decide to coach because you love making children or getting angry at children. That's not the purpose of your coaching. And I hope this is not your career, you know, your youth coaches. I hope you're not trying to feed your family with this, you know, and then he showed the elite, the National Advisory Board, and he said, these people, this is their career. Their career is on the line. They are feeding their families. This is their livelihood. And they believe positivity is a better way to coach. You know, so I thought that was really that was a good aha moment. I thought that was pretty good.
Definitely.
Hey, Kelly, because I, you know, was on just very briefly and need to jump into another hangout that I'll be leading. Could I just say a couple things and then?
Oh yeah.
Excuse me. You know, so the part that I joined was very interactive, by the way. You know, you asked, because Kelly told a story, and then you gave me space to chime in, and I just really like your follow-up question to Kelly.
Thank you.
About because the situation that Kelly described, I think it could possibly be different if the way you asked it was. The nuance to her situation. Do you remember what it was? It was
it was like how you know, how did you feel? Like what, you know, what was the consequence of your choice by your parents and by your team? as well as your other coaches, if your other coaches had something. So
yeah. Anyway, I like the follow-up question, and so, hey, I'll let you guys finish up.
Okay.
Sorry,
Thanks, Ruben.
Sorry, I wasn't able to be on for more, Matt. But
no worries. No worries at all.
I enjoyed the little bit that I got to participate in.
I can send you the recording, Ruben, and then you can watch it back.
Awesome. Thank you, Kelly. Thanks, Matt.
Yep, you're welcome.
Thanks, Ruben.
Have a
good
fun night.
weekend.
Enjoy. He's already having a fun night. It's okay.
I know, right?
I put that down as well. Matt, I thought you did a nice job. So I call it circling back or following up. People really like it when you remember what they said. So when, I made a comment and then a few minutes later you said, yeah, when Kelly mentioned this, or I like it when, that is like a huge tank filler for coaches in the room. I mean, they just feel great. Like, wow, this guy's really listening, and using names too. And I think that just seems like something you would do naturally, but it doesn't go unnoticed. It's an important point. I think it was great. Like when you said, let's get in groups and we're going to share, just keep, and I'm sure you're going to do this with live people, but keep in mind how you're going to group people and who they should share with, because I find adults are just as uncomfortable as kids when you say find a partner.
Oh yeah.
They kind of like, they panic for a second. Like, oh my gosh, who do I ask? And I came from an elementary teaching background where I had all of these cute little things in place for, okay, find a partner that has the same color shoes as you do. And when I first started doing these workshops, I thought, well, adults don't need that silly stuff, but they actually need something because it makes them very uncomfortable. And time after time, you can just say, turn to your partner to the left, turn to the partner to the right, but that gets old. So it is nice. I've never, in the 9 years I've been doing this, I've never had anybody say, okay, that was ridiculous that you made me find somebody with the same eye color. Adults walk around with their eyes open like this, trying to find somebody that has blue eyes, and they just laugh. I had somebody, one time I said, I want you to get in groups by the last digit of your phone number. So everybody was like walking around, like holding up 9 fingers, 4 fingers. I ended up with 9 different groups, and it was, and they were just laughing. They're like that. And that was one of the people said that was like their favorite part of the workshop. I'm like, really? So just have those in your back pocket. If you're going to group them, just be as, I always say to trainers, when you're telling adults to get into a group or to get with a partner, imagine you're talking to a bunch of first graders and be as specific as you can about find a group of 3, find a group of 4. You're going to have 2 minutes. Oh, that was the other thing that you said that I liked. You said you're going to have 30 seconds to talk. Always give them time. Tell them how much time they have, because if you don't, I've seen them, hey, Matt, it's so good to see you. How's the wife and kids? And all of a sudden they're done. But if you say you're only going to have 30 seconds, they'll get on task right away. And I think it was good. You don't always, when you said share with a partner and then you just went over the list, like you don't always have to share out. Like, everybody share what they said? And I thought you did a nice job with that. You just went right on to the next topic, which is if somebody shared with a partner, that's enough sharing sometimes. So I thought that was good. Sometimes it's good to share it out with a big group, but I thought you did a nice job with that.
It's almost, I think, something that maybe you would have to like pick. Hey, just tell me what he said. Tell me what he said, and sort of like move on, like you said.
Right.
So,
Exactly. But I think what else did I say? Oh, the only other thing, I thought you handled my question very well when I said about negativity, because when that slide comes up about, and this is going back a little bit, when the slide comes up about negativity and it's supposed to be a rhetorical question saying, well, of course you all agree positivity works better and negativity distracts. There's always someone in the crowd. Every workshop I've done, there's always someone that'll say, well, I don't know if I buy that. So a lot of times in my workshop, I have a slide that I've actually put in that said negativity impedes performance. And then I have the coaches agree or disagree. So I don't even put this slide up that says, do you agree or do you disagree? Because after you've just told them how great positivity is, who's going to be the jerk that stands up and says, nope, I disagree with everything you just said, But if you just make it simple about performance, negativity impedes performance, you'll get a pretty healthy debate for a couple minutes. And it's a good discussion. And then, it can sort of lead to so at the end of the discussion, people figure out, or through your facilitating, that, negativity does impede performance. Does it work in the moment? Yes, it works. Do people wake up when they're being screamed at? Yes, they do. But in the long term, is it the most effective way to get peak performance out of the players? No, it's not. So then why do we do it? That's kind of my order of conversation that I have with that, just to throw it out there as an idea, if you think that works, that works better. But other than that, I mean, I loved it. I thought you did a great job. You seemed very comfortable, and I love that you were aware of the time. I had someone in the course do the exact same demo yesterday, and it went 42 minutes for the introduction.
Oh my goodness.
And I almost wanted to stop him, but then on the end, I'm thinking he's going to realize it and stop himself. I kept saying he's going to realize how long he's going.
Right. Well, what's funny, Kelly, is I was at a like a reverse seminar where I was trying to sell a product, but the management company was there, and I had to go to each one, and they said, okay, you got 5 minutes. They would ring a bell. And honestly, this is where I got this from. And there were people that were talking for 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. So I sat down with like these heads of management companies, and I go, I got 5 minutes. I'm setting my timer right now just so we could, you know what I mean? And I feel it just respects their time. So no, it's funny that you say that though, like, cause I do that every time. I'm like, all right, I have 20 minutes. I'm going to, that's for 20 minutes or even less. So,
yeah. And I often I'll ask a person in the front row, can you be my timekeeper? Would you be my time captain? And I'll say, could you just wave your hand every 20 minutes?
Okay, so, that's a great point. Good.
And they feel like, wow, you're respecting my time. And then I don't have to, because I feel bad sometimes when I'm looking at my phone or looking at my watch or, so it's nice to say the person go like this. And I'm like, okay, wrap up that principle, on to the next one.
Right.
And I think too, it helps because sometimes we get so wrapped up in the workshop and all of a sudden we look at the end and we go, oh my gosh, I have 3 minutes to do honoring the game. Like that's a problem. But if you have somebody waving their hand at you every 20 minutes, like I got to wrap this one up and on to the next one. Sure. So that they get a piece of every part of the workshop, not 3/4 of the workshop and then a little tiny sliver at the end of the last principle. So right. Because
and like I feel like sometimes those ones at the end are going to be the ones they remember the most. So you want to spend, I don't want to say spend a lot of time on it, but just enough time.
Yeah, and I've seen new trainers go out and do the first 2 principles and then just end the workshop because they didn't have time.
Right.
And I'm thinking, wait a minute, we don't want you to do that,
Right.
So I thought I was impressed by your time management. Thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you.
Yes. So I would love for you pick a principle for the next one. If you would like to just go right ahead to the final, because obviously you seem comfortable doing this, you're welcome to just do 2 demos. But if you'd like to do another practice round, I'd be happy to do that with you too. Just let me know.
All right.
You don't have to tell me now. You can think about it and get back to me.
Yeah. So you want me to pick out one of the principles?
Yep.
And and just do that for what, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or?
No, it's 20 minutes again.
Okay, 20 minutes again.
Yeah. So the final demo will be having some PCA staff from Chicago on, and you would deliver 1 full principle. And I usually would ask you to do a little intro of yourself in the beginning, just so that they know who you are, and then jump right into the principle. That's the final. That's where we decide if you should be an associate trainer or not and go out to a live workshop. But if you would like to do a practice demo of a different principle before that, I give you that opportunity too. Some people say, yes, I'd love to. Other people say, I'm good. Let me just go right to the final. So
yeah, I could probably go right to the final, honestly.
That's fine.
I think that'll, I want to get, I don't want to say I want to get the ball rolling, but I want to make sure, getting back to, I apologize. Sometimes it's just, I want to make sure I have everything in a row before I reply to you.
No,
so I feel awful when I give you like a week where I'm like, oh my God. But again, unless it's urgent or something like that, I'll definitely be responding. So, Kelly, if we get scheduled that now, if you want to just get back to me, whatever's easier for you.
That's fine. Well, just send me a few times next week that work for you.
Okay.
My schedule is I have appointments every day, but it's pretty flexible. It's easier for you to just give me some times that work for you. Okay. And then I'll get back to you and let you know what works.
All right. Perfect. Kelly, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Yep. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.